And greetings, everyone, and welcome to Buzz for Good, where we talk all things nonprofit, the people they serve and the good they do. And today I am buzzing about the Athena Leadership Award, given by the Roanoke Regional Chamber and celebrating women who have achieved the highest levels of professional accomplishment while giving back to their communities and actively investing in the success of future leaders. The three finalists are all exceptional women whom I've had the honor of knowing through my work with Buzz. Melissa Woodson, Executive Director of the Roanoke Homeless Ministry, Ram House, and the star of one of my very first episodes of Buzz we produced back in 2020. Renee Brown, President and CEO of DePaul Community Resources, whom I've featured before on this show. And Becky Freemall, who generously served as host of my pilot episode of Buzz in 2019, and this year was my co-host as I launched my Buzz Live talk show. As you can see, in many ways, Buzz would not be without these amazing and inspiring people. And I look forward to sharing my conversations with them in today's Buzz for Good. First, I am Michael Hemphill, creator and host of the TV show Buzz, where we feature the great work of nonprofit organizations in the communities they serve. We have a new Buzz Live talk show on August the 26th at the historic Lyric Theater in Blacksburg, Virginia, starring the Blacksburg Refugee Partnership. We have a new TV episode airing August 27th on Blue Ridge PBS, starring the Franklin County NAACP. And in my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama, we have a preview party on September the 11th to launch 4 new episodes on Alabama Public Television. And you can find out more about all of this on my website, buzzforgood.com. That's buzz, B-U-Z-Z, 4, good.com. And my social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok, all at Buzz for Good. But enough about me. Let's get to today's Buzz for Good show and my conversations with the 3 finalists for the 2025 Athena Award. So named for the Greek goddess of wisdom and strategy. Hosted by the Roanoke Regional Chamber, the Athena Award will be presented on November the 6th at Hotel Roanoke. And first up today is Melissa Woodson,
I love that.
Executive Director of Ram House, who, as always, joins our conversation full of energy. All right. Well, hello, my friend. Thanks for making the time for me.
Oh gosh, it was fine. I had a good day yesterday. We got 20,000 for the capital campaign, and
Yes,
any day that happens is a good day. So I'm having a good week.
All right. Well, why don't we just jump right in there? So where are we with the campaign?
We're at $2.5 million. We just hit 2.5 million and some change.
All right. And the goal is?
Well, the goal we had to do some more architectural planning, so we're not quite sure what the final goal is going to be, but we think it's going to be about 4.3 million at this point.
Okay.
So we're on a good ways there. I never thought 6 years ago this would happen. This is just incredible.
Bravo. Well, while we rewind the time here a little bit, and let me welcome to the show Melissa Woodson, the Executive Director of Ram House, Roanoke Area Ministries. And congratulations on your being a finalist for the Athena Awards.
I was floored. I mean, stunned. And I think, there's such the audience of women in the Roanoke Valley that are powerful people. I never in my wildest dreams even imagined I'd be in the whole list, much less the final 3. And I'm just absolutely humbled by it. And I've said to many people, the only thing that has really struck me is my mother's been gone for 18 years, but I would so love to tell her this one. Yeah. I think she'd be so proud of her baby. I really do.
Well, really. I have no doubt. And maybe that's a good segue kind of to my first question for you.
Okay.
When I know that this, the Athena Awards, it's all about women in leadership. And I'm wondering who, perhaps more than anyone else, taught you about being a leader?
That's my mother. And I mean, 100%, hands down, no hesitation. I know that our generation and the one under me and the one under that, we all, think we have such barriers to break. But when I look at my mother and her friends and, what was going on with her when she got married in 1956 and, raised me, I was born in 62. she never had the economic power to do what she wanted to do, and she lived through me very
Mm.
much vicariously. I think you and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
I am nothing like my mother, but we complement each other. And I think she saw from a young age potential there, and she was determined that I was going to have what she didn't get. I've never not thought I was going to college. Um, I do remember it being 5 when we had the county library open up. She had me there the first day in the reading groups. That's
Mm.
who she was. And she just convinced me that I was going to be more. And I was an extremely shy little child. I know that's hard for you to believe, but I was one of these kids that hid behind her skirts, so to speak. But she really encouraged me to be brave and to go out and
Hmm.
to make change. And, being raised in the lower middle class, it was very important for my parents to help other people and to raise them. And that's what was instilled upon me by both of them. So, hands down, 100% my mother, my
Mm.
mother.
Mm. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Wow. You said though that she's very much unlike you.
Hmm.
So what was she like? Like, what would you want people to know about her?
Oh gosh, my
Other than
mother.
obviously she wanted to raise a very strong, powerful, woman.
Well, she wanted to be a nurse, but
Mm.
the economic opportunity was never there for her. Even waited to get married because her grandmother was so ill. She stayed with her grandmother until her grandmother passed away. It was a huge sacrifice for her. And she worked in a nursing home later to bring money into the household, but because that's what she did. My mother helped all the older ladies in the neighborhood die, and sometimes older men. She was a matriarch, and
Mm.
outside of that, I had the most beautiful clothes in the world because she sewed them. We couldn't afford fancy clothes, but she sewed my clothes. She had a garden. She canned vegetables. She was Superwoman in so many, many ways in the 1970s. And she really made a profound impact in a different way than I have. I'm more like my dad. It turned out to be my dad became the superintendent of the highway department in our county. So he was more of that type of leadership role, and he loved talking to people, and I do too. My mother she stayed at home. She wasn't more introverted than I am. So I get a little bit of both from them,
Mm.
absolutely. And I'm like him for good and bad. So, but I always say in my life, if my aspiration, I'm 63, my aspiration is to be like her. And I don't think I'll ever achieve so much, but I try.
Mm.
I
Mm.
try.
Beautifully said. Well, joined here on Buzz for Good by one of the 3 finalists for the Athena Awards, which goes to uh, women who display some beautiful aspects of leadership in the Roanoke Valley. Uh, what are some traits or values that you think make for a good leader?
Well, I think we all have to have our own style,
Right, right.
For me, because I was raised that I was no more important than anybody else, I have a value system where I want everybody around me to be leaders. I don't consider myself any more important than anybody on my staff because we're doing this capital campaign and they want to get out of this building and into a new building to provide better services for the people downstairs. I very seldom have to even interact with them. They are leaders, they are powerful leaders. Of course, I get involved when there's something that I need to be involved with, but they don't. There's no hierarchy downstairs,
Mm.
and I think part of the reason of that is there's no hierarchy with me.
Hmm.
I never see myself as above people, and I think specifically in the role of a nonprofit executive. No, I don't know everything,
Right,
granted,
right. I lost you there for a
and
second.
because I know I can't do everything myself.
I lost you there for a second.
Hmm.
So we had a little break. Could you
Okay,
rewind and talk about just like rewind about 15 seconds there?
sure. Sure. As far as my staff goes, they're very much leaders. They're very independent of me because they know that I have to manage the capital campaign, and they very much want to get to the new building so they can have programming that's genuinely going to help people. Therefore, they all leaders. And
Hmm.
as a nonprofit leader, because I don't know everything, I know human being can, and because I cannot do everything, my style is to find the people who can and to empower them to do what they need to do. And in the 6 years that I've been at the Ram House, not only do we have people on the bus, they're in the right seats. And it's
Mm,
just been it's an
nice.
amazing journey. I'm not saying we don't have a long way to go because we do, but the people involved are very dedicated to what we're doing. And I 100% believe that Roanokeers want better for homeless people. And I 100% believe that they're going to come through for us.
Mm, yeah.
That's the leadership style I take. And the other thing, it's so easy for me to tell you this because it's my mantra. It's give everybody else the credit, because it's going to shine back on you. You
Hmm.
don't need to take credit for things. And so many people go into leadership thinking that they have to do everything and they have to impress everybody. I don't really feel the need to impress anybody. I look at the results we have and I let other people get them. So yeah, that's sort of the philosophy I have very much, Michael, is to shine that light back on other people.
Hmm.
That's when you create a synergy where you can create meaningful, big change.
Is that a unique leadership quality for, or leadership quality that's unique to women?
I think so. I I think it's unique amongst leaders. I don't think everybody takes that stance. I
Hmm.
think a lot of people don't, female and male. But I think because women tend to be nurturers, we also tend to want to build other people up.
Hmm.
And it's just a natural instinct that we have, that we release the power to other people, just like my mother released her power to me,
Hmm.
and that learning from me to release it to other people, and that I don't have to be the centerpiece, that I'm just part of a machine, and a small part, but a meaningful part.
Yeah. Yeah. That does seem, maybe I'm viewing this more stereotypically or traditionally, so, and maybe that's less so today, but it does seem like the traditional, uh, male patriarchal way
Yeah,
of being a leader was more, it is about me. It's top down. It's,
yeah,
you, you know, I'm the leader. You follow my orders. And,
right, right.
and whatever success may come is because of, who's at the top.
And that's a very militaristic hand down,
Hmm.
that whole thing. And I think as women are integrating in society, the military aspect, the handing down, and you do what I say, it works in war. It works very well in war, and it can work in a business setting, but it doesn't always work. And I think in a nonprofit situation, especially one that's health and human services, the heart has to be in there for people to be
Mm.
inspired.
Hmm.
And to take that hardline approach is not effective. I will say I am around some very powerful men in my life. Some of my strongest mentors have been male. So let me preface what I'm going to say next by that.
Okay.
I cannot say enough about how much men have helped me. However, as a female and even into my 60s, you walk that line of if you're too assertive, you're the B word, and men feel that way.
Hmm.
Yet if you are too soft, you're weak. And the convincing of people not to convince my kindness for weakness as a female, those things are very difficult because I think our minds are structured differently. And that's okay. We just need to understand each other. And sometimes it's a hard line, Mike. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
can be a very hard line. And let me say too, amongst women, there are some women that are very assertive, very, very assertive. And synergizing with them is sometimes uh, more of something that I've needed to work on within me.
Mm.
You can't change other people. You can only determine how to act yourself to get them in the place that you need them to be to move the organization forward, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully put. Once again, joined
Good.
here on Buzz for Good by Melissa Woodson, the executive director of Ram House, Roanoke Area Ministries, which is currently on a $4.3 million capital campaign to renovate a new space to better serve Roanoke's unhoused homeless population. And they are 2.5 million,
We're 2.5,
2.5 million
2.5.
on the
Yeah.
way. So more about
And
the great work that Melissa and her team is doing at Ram
I've
House.
counted every penny of that, by the way. So I know that is true. It's really interesting. The new task force is out for the city of Roanoke, and I'm
Yeah.
so excited about that. And Mayor Cobb is doing a wonderful job with that. But I will tell you that Ram House has did a study on what we needed to do back in 2020. So we've been on the ground trying to figure out how to make homeless people better. And I'm so excited for the new programs that are coming out and what we're going to be able to put out in quick time.
Hmm.
Now, that is contingent on raising the rest of the money, but as we fill in the bones about what the programs are going to look like, I think we're going to have a much higher incidence of being able to get people in housing because we can talk about having housing all we want. If people aren't ready to go into housing, we can't put them into housing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Rand House's niche is going to be in the future. And I'm so, so excited that our board has a strategic plan that is focused on that for 6 years.
So you've got, let's say, 30 seconds with somebody who hasn't heard about Ram House nor this capital
Mhm.
campaign. What is your pitch to get him or her on board with wanting to support what you're doing?
We do a great job with basic services, but we're dealing with a population of people that have severe mental health issues, severe opioid crisis issues, and we need a more clinical setting. And it's not until we address those two things that we can put people into housing. That's what Ram House is focused on. The main thing, one of the main things, and this is small, but this is huge to me, is that the people that we serve are going to have showers every day,
Hmm.
to start their day. And they're going to have a nice building, a nice building with light and love. Those things are going to make people, I think, want to do better. We're calling the campaign One Stop to Home because we want to have everything internal to get them where they need to be.
Hmm. Very nice. What's one thing that you wish people who perhaps have some idea of homelessness, what's one thing that you wish that where you could correct them?
Oh my gosh, that is so easy for me to answer. Everybody assumes that the people that come here are opioid users and psychotics. And I want more of those people to come in here because I want to help them. A lot of them don't come here except to eat. That's it.
Hmm.
But the majority of the people that are here are elderly and disabled.
Hmm.
They are people that have worked their whole lives and through no fault of their own are living their senior years at night at the rescue mission, in the daytime in the Ram House. And none of us want our older sisters or our mothers or our grandmothers to live that kind of existence. So to put people in this monolith is very discouraging to me. And that's the one thing that I just want people to understand. If you walk into Ram House, you're going to see a bunch of elderly and disabled people. You're going to see wheelchairs. You're going to see walkers. You're going to see canes. You're going to see people that can't walk very far or very well. And it's through no fault of their own that their
Yeah.
health has declined as they've gotten older.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we live in a country where accessing health care and affording health care
Mhm.
are two, at times, insurmountable challenges.
You are absolutely right about that. And
Yeah.
I think it's just, if you don't know, I think a lot of people are a paycheck away, as you hear,
Hmm.
but some people escape that and some people don't. And you
Yeah.
really can't disparage people that have crises that happen that put them in the position that they're in. It's heartbreaking to me to go downstairs and see people that are in their 70s and in a day shelter.
Yeah.
I want them out of here. So that's why I'm so excited for the
Yeah.
new Ram House and for them to have a place to go that is going to be more conducive to what they need
Hmm.
inside the building.
Join here on Bus for Good. by Melissa Woodson, executive director of Ram House, and one of three finalists for the annual Athena Awards by the Roanoke Chamber, which goes to women in leadership roles. And kind of final question for you here, my friend. Is there, looking back over your time as the leader of Ram House, is there one particular defining moment where it was perhaps your leadership that got the organization through a particular moment or crisis that perhaps in someone else's hands would not have gotten through?
It's also an easy question for me, and I can tell you the date, actually.
Okay.
I know there was an incident where there were NIMBY issues, and it was a very hard evening. We were trying to explain what we were going to do, and
Wait, sorry,
people are
sorry, start that. You said there were NIMBY issues. There were
not in my backyard
Yeah,
issues. They
right.
don't, people didn't want us in their neighborhood, which has changed a whole lot. And I
Good.
think there was a lot of people that never felt that way, but there are some that did. And I can remember coming home from a really hard evening and being very upset and praying over it, actually. And the next morning when I woke up, what I realized was, as a leader, that whatever was happening, that this wasn't about me. It had nothing to do with me, and that I couldn't take it on a personal level. And then I thought about it, and the people that I serve have no voice. Who do they go to say what they need or they want? I am their voice. And I had to put away my hurt and fight, move forward to make a plan that would make people more comfortable with the Ram House. And I think that's it as a leader. The pitfall that is the biggest pitfall is making it about you.
Hmm.
Whatever you're doing is not about you, specifically in the health and human services field. It is about the people we serve. We always say, all of us on my staff, whenever we fall into a problem, whenever we make it about our clients and not about each other, we do the right thing. And it's easy.
Hmm.
It's easy when you think that way.
Yeah.
So that was the big lesson for me. And I think it's hard because we live in the shell of a body, and things are coming at us all the time, and I also think that that's part of why we're here on earth, is to experience this shell of a body
Hmm.
and to grow. And that situation with NIMBY, not in my backyard, at an old age, helped me grow as a person. And it's really been empowering to me not to make things about myself. That's leadership.
Yeah.
That's leadership.
Well, congratulations again, my friend, on the Athena Award finalist. We will look forward to celebrating one of these three spectacular women. Actually, all three, but one will receive
They're
the award.
wonderful.
Yeah, on November the 6th at the Hotel Roanoke. Yeah.
And what I will say about that is, win or not, I don't care. What's exciting to me is that this is a conduit for people to see the Ram House and to see what we do. And that is so important. That's so important in our capital campaign. And I am so humbly honored that anyone thought to put me in that top 3 group.
Well, thank you. Congratulations again, my friend.
Bye, Michael.
You are listening to Buzz for Good, and today we are featuring the 3 finalists for this year's Athena Award, presented by the Roanoke Regional Chamber to a woman who has achieved the highest levels of professional accomplishment while giving back to her communities and actively investing in the success of future leaders. And next up is Renee Brown, President and CEO of DePaul Community Resources. Do you know how your nomination, got to the committee to begin with?
I do. So actually my leadership team nominated me, which is amazing and a great compliment. So that's how I got nominated.
Well, fabulous. Yeah, not every CEO would perhaps receive such a nomination. So kudos to you for having inspired that in them. And then from there, you had to go on an interview, I understand.
Yeah, so it was a nomination, and then I had to actually fill out an application and answer some questions and get some quotes from other people. And then, yeah, and then I had an in-person interview.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's all about women in leadership. That's what these awards recognize, correct?
Yes.
So to that end, who taught you how to be a leader?
So thankfully, I had parents who were uh, well educated and good examples. My dad was a leader in the military. He was a colonel,
Hmm.
and so we moved around a lot, but I got to witness his leadership, and so I benefited greatly from that. And then once I started my career, I had a couple really just great supervisors, and both of them were really different from me.
Hmm.
And I think it just taught me so much. And so I've just been, just surrounded with people in my family who are leaders and just, connected to people who've been willing to take the time to share their talent with me.
Yeah. So it's funny. I was having a conversation with another of the Athena Awards finalists, and they were talking about how that military background perhaps demonstrates one leadership style, kind of a top down, I'm in charge, you follow my orders, and that's how we
Yes.
execute a plan.
Yes.
But then there's this more of a collaborative approach to leadership that I suggest is more of a leadership quality that is found in women versus men. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think leadership is a team sport, right?
Mhm.
And just like with teams, you have different people with different skills. And you don't want the quarterback to be trying to kick the winning field goal, right? The
Hmm.
quarterback needs to do what the quarterback does, and the kicker needs to do what the kicker does.
Nice.
So I agree. I see it as you get a collective group of people who all have their own skills and talents, and we're all moving and have the same mission and goal. And you really honor people's skills and stay in your lane, as they say, and work collaboratively. And I agree 100% that it's a group effort.
Yeah, at the same time, though, thinking about your dad, and that military mindset, though, what leadership qualities do you take from him to apply in more of like a team environment?
Yeah, so being willing to make the hard decisions and the
Mm,
unpopular decisions, right? So he had to do what was right. And then there were moments where he had to make quick decisions.
sure.
And we had to do that. I mean, COVID's a great example, right? We had to make some very quick decisions and
Hmm.
like we bought 120 iPads like day two because we knew if we were going to have any chance of continuing
Wow.
work, we're going to need these things. So it was like Renee, can we just buy all the iPads we can find? It's like, yes, so it's just sometimes you just have to make those quick decisions. This is what we're going to do. It might not work out, but somebody has got to like say, let's do this. And so that's what I take from him is like being willing to make those tough decisions, standing on integrity, standing on principle, and being good in a crisis.
Ooh, you're giving me chills here. So that's beautiful. Once again, joined here on Bus for Good by Renee Brown, the president and CEO of DePaul Community Resources, and a finalist for the Athena Award that will be made November the 6th at
Yes.
Hotel Roanoke by the Roanoke Regional Chamber. Real quick, want you, for those who don't know anything about DePaul Community Resources, and they should, what would you tell them?
So we're a nonprofit organization. We have been around for 48 years. So we're getting excited about celebrating our 50th in just a couple of years and gearing up for that. We have two divisions. So one of our divisions is our Child and Family Services division, and we provide foster care services, adoption, independent living, and counseling services. And then our other division is our Developmental Disabilities division, where we support individuals with a disability in homes and in the community.
Mhm. How long have you been there?
I've been there about 8 years, 2.5 years in the current role as CEO, and then before that, I was a vice president, and then before that, I spent 20 years at Blue Ridge Behavioral Health Care,
Hmm.
a local community service board.
What kind of got you into this health and human services world?
So that's where my mom comes in. She had her master's degree in social work,
Okay.
and so I think I just inherited from her the love of helping people and being a
Hmm.
helper. And my dad was an engineer, so I think I got from him the problem solving piece. And so I think those two things just came together. I just, and I've always felt that way. My little brother is adopted. We adopted him when I was 7. So I've always been immersed in this world of, families can be made a lot of different ways. People need help. And if you can help somebody, you really should.
Well, speaking of your mom now, we talked about your dad and leadership qualities, and she perhaps inspired you on this career path, but what were the maybe some leadership qualities that you gleaned from her?
Yeah, so my mom, she was the person that really just wanted everything to be okay. And so from her, she ran a great household, right? So for a lot of times when you're a military wife, you really just, you really need to run the household because you're moving so much. It's hard to have your own
Mm.
career. So she was willing to sacrifice sort of a long-term career to be able to support my dad in his career. So that supportive role, surrounding yourself, like being willing to help somebody else, even if
Mm.
it's your partner or, your coworker. She definitely was all about helping and looking for ways that you can help. Yeah.
What kind of career path would she have taken, do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. She was excellent at like interior design, although she was a social worker.
Hmm.
So I don't know what she would have done. I know in the beginning she helped pregnant teens at
Hmm.
one point, but she did a variety of different things. So I'm not sure what she would have landed on.
Hmm. Are there, we've kind of talked about some different leadership. Are there some leadership qualities in your perspective that are, if not unique to women, maybe found more common in women?
I think there's a challenge that I think women face, and probably most marginalized people,
Hmm.
is knowing their worth and standing on that confidence. So I think sometimes it's a little bit harder for us to walk into the room with the confidence and to think that it's okay to pour into myself and to prioritize myself and my professional growth. I think we're naturally
And when you say
the,
when you say marginalized, because this is a radio show, are you referring to the fact that you're African American?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that and a woman, and then, any person, yeah, any person of color,
Yeah.
our LGBTQ community. There's a lot of, right? We have a lot of
Sure.
marginalized communities. So just thinking about, sometimes walking in a room with confidence and really knowing your worth is difficult. But the other thing I think we do a little bit better is self-care. Although we sometimes sacrifice that, I think we
Mhm.
appreciate it. And so that's something I think that women can bring to the table is knowing that you have lives outside of work.
Yeah.
And to be your best self at work, you got to have some balance. You have to have some vacation. You have to be able to go to, some of your kids' events or family events, time alone, those kinds of things. So making sure you're balanced. I think
Hmm.
women can bring that skill to the workforce.
Well, and to that point, I mean, from conversations that I have with, women who are in the workforce, but also wives and moms, that they're still the ones who are more likely to be responsible for, making sure the kids are ready for school, are getting to
Yes.
all their doctor's appointments, are, having dinner ready at night, doing the house cleaning. I mean, there those responsibilities are still going to be taken more by, women for, better or
Sure.
worse for a variety of reasons. And so therefore, yeah. So I think in a leadership role, you are more inclined to have those things balance out. Whereas men, and I'm as a man kind of oblivious to a lot of the household, family workings that are still, still need to be taken care of.
Yeah. And we are great multitaskers, right?
Yeah, right, right. So
Yeah,
very,
for
very
sure.
well said. Very well said. Um, is there one defining moment in the life of, let's say, of DePaul Community Resources, where it was your leadership quality and perhaps yours alone that made the difference? Some crisis. I mean, you mentioned
So
COVID earlier, but something where it's like, okay, had someone else been in that position, perhaps the
yeah.
organization would not have succeeded as well.
So one of the things I'm really proud about is our kinship care program, which is a fairly new program where we really try to support family members who are taking care of a family member, grandparents who are taking care of their grandchildren, and that kind of thing. That really launched sort of in a significant way because of one phone call that I received from a grandmother.
Mm.
And she called and she needed help. She had her grandchildren. It was not a service that we provided. Somebody else could have said, it's not a service we provide. Here's a number or try calling. And I was like, yeah, but we have the skill set for that. We
Hmm.
could help her. It might not be a formal service that we have, but we have case managers. They know how to help people. That's what we do is help people. And so I think, I got some people on the phone and was like, we don't want to send this grandmother to another place. She's been to three other places. We don't want to just pass her along. How can we help her? And my staff, the people that, again, the people with the skills figured it out and helped her. So I think because she got me and
Mm.
other people might have said yes too, but other people might have said no. And that
Was that,
launched our kinship program.
yeah, it sounds like other people had already said no, and you were
Well,
there to
that's
say
true. You're
yes.
right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so explain then what that kinship care program is all about.
Yeah, so when we help that grandmother, we realize there are probably other people in the same situation. And if
Hmm.
we can help a grandmother stabilize with the grandchildren that she wanted to take care of, that would prevent them from coming into foster care. So we decided, well, if we do more of that, then we can impact the foster care system upstream with prevention efforts. And so that's what we did. And we sought out grants and we've received some and we've partnered with Roanoke City DSS. And it's gotten bigger into some of our other locations. And it's just something we're really proud of because it keeps families together and stabilizes them and prevents children from experiencing the trauma of foster care.
Yeah, I mean, foster care is it's not always traumatic, but at the same time, it if there is an option for just to provide a little help for a grandparent or an
Yeah.
aunt
Yeah.
or uncle or somebody who the child actually knows to be able to stay in that
Yeah.
setting, that's got to be
Well, the
preferable.
removal from your family is
Mm,
traumatic.
that's traumatic. Yeah,
I'm not saying the foster parents are doing anything wrong. I'm saying
right.
the process of being removed from everything you know is a traumatic experience. We know that.
Yeah,
Yes, foster care is important and necessary in certain situations for safety and all kinds of things. And we have fantastic foster families, and I'm really proud of our foster care program. But the child will experience trauma.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, while you're here, all right. So you're known for your motivational leadership, and I know that Virginia is in need of more foster care parents. So, what would you say right now in 30 seconds to try to inspire somebody to be a foster care parent?
Yep. So we definitely request and invite you to join us in helping children and helping individuals with disabilities. So we need families that are willing to become foster parents and also families that are willing to have someone with an individual with a disability come live in their home. So if you are at all thinking that that might be something you can do, we will support you. You'll have 24/7 crisis available. We'll train you. We will give you everything that you need. We'll support you the whole way. And just give us a call or go on our website and just start the conversation. And we would love to have that conversation with you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Renee Brown, President and CEO of DePaul Community Resources and finalist for the Athena Award, recognizing women in leadership roles here in the Roanoke Valley. That award presentation will be on November the 6th at Hotel Roanoke. Thank you so much for coming on to Buzz for Good and sharing your leadership story. And any final thoughts about just what it means to be a finalist for the Athena Awards?
It's such an honor. And I looked at the names of the other women on the list, and to stand amongst those amazing leaders was heartwarming and affirming. So I just, want to say congratulations to everybody else that was nominated. And the other two finalists are amazing women as well. And, the Young Leadership Award finalists, congratulations to them as well. And let's just keep doing our work together and making, the Roanoke Valley a stronger place to be. So thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Once again, you are listening to Buzz for Good, and today we are featuring the 3 finalists for this year's Athena Award, presented by the Roanoke Regional Chamber to a woman who has achieved the highest levels of professional accomplishment while giving back to her communities and actively investing in the success of future leaders. And our final guest today is my good friend, Becky Freemall, who helped me launch Buzz in 2019 by being the host of my pilot episode and joining me again this year as I started our Buzz Live talk show. My privilege to welcome here to Buzz for Good my good friend Becky Freemall. And you have so many titles that you can wear. So I'm going to let you introduce whichever titles you want for this show.
I will absolutely do that. First of all, thanks for having me. I love the buzz. I love what you're doing with it. I love the buzz, not to be completely dorky, that you're creating. So,
well, and could not have done it without you, right?
That's right. I'm like, that's right, everybody.
You were there at the very beginning, ground floor, and continue to support the work that I'm doing. So thank you. Anyway, so introduce yourself.
I would love to introduce myself. So I'm Becky Freemall. High level, I always tell everyone I'm a journalist turned strategist, and I take the skill set that I had over the last 25 years as a journalist and moved it into, I guess you could say, the corporate space, if you use the high umbrella for corporate world, because I do both for-profit and nonprofit. And basically the idea was, as I made that switch from journalism into the kind of quote unquote real world, I realized how important it was for people to really build those evidence-based stories, to look at your data, to talk to your people, to find out what matters most and who it matters to, so that you can build that bridge and uncover those stories. Because let's be real, Michael, at the end of the day, people are your bottom line. Those revenue dollars or whatever goal you're trying to get to, they're not going to move unless people are the ones making the decision to buy the widget or do the thing. And so I help people do the thing. So now I'm a fractional chief marketing officer, helping people with their marketing and communication strategy.
And one other title, which is significant for this conversation, is that you are a finalist, one of 3 finalists for the prestigious Athena Awards that are given out every year by the Roanoke Regional Chamber for women in leadership. And so I'll just use that as a segue to my very first question, which is who, if you could pin just one person, who was the one who perhaps taught you the most about leadership?
So I'm going to pin one group, and that's my family, my mom, my dad, and my sister. I think, people talk about your early childhood years and how important they are to your development and your growth. And no one in my family, I was the youngest of the 2 children, my sister and I, no one in my family, being my older sister, mom, ever said, no, you can't do that. And I think that had a lot of importance on the foundation that I grew and the risks I was willing to take, because I knew I was safe and secure as a child. And now, dog, I told you, when I moved out on my own 2 years ago, there were moments where I was like, oh, am I doing this? Should I jump out? And I think a lot of that really goes back to learning that it's okay, and that you're surrounded by people who care about you, and they're not going to let you fall. And really, they've given me, people around me continued to give me, as did my family in my youngest years, and still do, all the tools I need to make it happen. It's inside now. And I know if you took everything from me tomorrow, I could build myself back up. Please don't take everything from me, but I can do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's certainly, one trait that you might have, as far as leadership. But I mean, what are some of the traits or values that you feel as though like make you a good leader?
That one I can pinpoint on a one-word answer, and it's curiosity. I think somewhere along the lines, we start to get worried about what other people think. And as a child, and I mean really young childhood memories of any of ours, would be that whole, why is the sky blue? You weren't afraid to ask those questions. You weren't afraid to ask it 10 times if the answer wasn't what you wanted to hear, or it didn't make sense. I think people go from that curiosity learning to the I know space way too early in life. And if we would just realize we actually don't know, and there are moments in your life that you really need to remain curious more than not, and find out why. Maybe in conflict resolution, there are two people on your team coming to you, and maybe one got to you first, but instead of just saying, oh, okay, Michael, you said Becky's being mean, and then I go to Becky and say, stop being mean. Instead, I remain curious and find out from
Mm.
Becky what also happened, and then bring them together to have that discussion.
Probably some
That's
of your
just
journalism background there. There's always two
yes.
sides to every story.
Yes, right, Michael. And I mean, you've done journalism, you understand the importance to go even further than that, that there's multiple sides. And, I share the story a lot, but it's so important. When I was a journalist in Cincinnati and a poor woman, we were interviewing this mother who had lost her 13-year-old in gang violence. And it was a hard story to do. It was a hard interview to do. And a question was posed, did you know your 13-year-old son was running with a gang? And she's sobbing, heartbreaking sobbing.
Mm.
No, I didn't know. I hadn't even, haven't seen him in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Well, your first inclination is to kind of maybe take your microphone and bop her over the head and say, how did you not see your 13-year-old child for weeks on end? But remaining curious, even just within your own mind, to realize, wait a minute, let's question myself on that one. I came from a point of privilege. My family was there for me. They could be there for me. And that's how she was there for her child. The way she was there for her family was to work, heck, probably 20-hour days sometimes to make sure they had a roof over their head and food on their table. But what that meant was she physically couldn't be there day in and day out.
Right.
There are choices people have to make that maybe not all of us have to make. And when you really remain curious and understand that there are differences, it really helps you learn. I just heard a quote the other day, Michael, I love it, which was, if you want to learn something new, talk with somebody or have a discussion with someone who disagrees with you.
Hmm.
And that goes to curiosity so much in
Right.
so many realms.
Yeah, and so much of what we need right now in a
Yeah.
increasingly polarized country where we just kind of gravitate toward our own echo chambers and
Yes.
find out, don't want to find out what the other side thinks, because we just kind of have already written them off as either irrational or evil or
Yeah.
misguided or ignorant.
Hmm.
Whereas, you know, yet at the same time, we're preaching we need more compromise. But but really, we need the other side to compromise with us, not us
Yes.
taking that step. So
Yeah. Just remain curious.
yeah, I love that. Love that. All right.
Mhm.
Well, once again, joined here on Buzz for Good by my good friend Becky Freemall, who is a fractional. Uh, give me the a fractional CMO, fractional chief marketing officer, with her
Yes.
own business, the market exec, and a finalist for the Athena Awards, awarded by the Roanoke Regional Chamber for women who have displayed outstanding leadership. Right.
Yeah.
And so curiosity, I would also just throw out there as far as a leadership quality that I've noticed you have, and maybe it's, you were, curious to figure out what it was that I was trying to do way back in 2019 when I created my pilot episode of
Yeah.
Buzz, but also a generosity of spirit.
I
Uh, you,
appreciate that.
I mean, we kind of knew each other, but I
Yeah.
kind of pitched this, hey, I need a co-host for or a host for this TV show idea that I'm trying to get off the ground. And you were like, sure, let's do it. I mean,
Yeah.
and there was nothing in it for you, other than just maybe just, I don't know, a desire to kind of walk down this new path with me, and you said yes. And I've always appreciated that. And then when I started this Buzz Live earlier this year, again, you said yes. And so I'm very grateful for that and your generosity of spirit, which I think translates into leadership.
I appreciate that. I'm starting to own that a little bit more, and I'm hoping will continue to grow my ownership of that, which is, we all have been probably the most over assessed human beings in the world with Myers-Briggs, Colby A, Strengths Finders, DISC assessment. We got it all. But the one that always comes back in all of my assessments, that my biggest, strongest motivator is altruism.
Mm,
And at first, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to say that to people? Like, I'm
right.
altruistic. I want world peace.
Yeah.
Like it
And,
just
and
seemed
how does that work in business when it's all about
great.
financial bottom line? It's like, well, we don't want altruism. We want
Yes.
capitalism. And
Yes.
those are usually mutually exclusive.
Right. I just love that you said that because that is Michael, 110% what was in my brain. Like, isn't that cute? But whatever. Capitalistic nation is what we're in. We have to pay the mortgage. Altruism isn't going to take care of my kids and keep the roof over my head. However, it is still what I go back to. And what I have been able to do with that, and really, since I went out on my own and founded my own company 2 years ago, I've really been able to own it, which is that is my strength.
Mm.
So do own it and do run with it. And altruism absolutely can translate into capitalism. And for my purposes as a marketer, a strategist, and a communicator, the idea at the end of the day, businesses, whether they want to admit it or not, have an altruistic side, which is they found a solution for somebody's pain point. So you're helping somebody. That's why they're coming
Mm-hmm.
to you and making the decision to buy your widget or buy your product. And so I use the skill set I have to help find out what that, again, that evidence-based story is. What is that widget? Why? What's the why behind it? Why did you even found this company? Or if it's, say, an older company, industry like a banking industry or credit union space that I've worked in that as well. Why are you working there? Why did you buy into the why? And how do you reach the people? And who are those people? Like you have to speak to the right person. Not everyone has the same pain point. So you can't be everything to everyone. But I say all of that because at the end of the day, that altruism is really what connects people because they do
Mm-hmm.
business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And if they feel like you're disingenuous and you're just there to get the dollar from them, it's not going to work. So altruism and capitalism can truly work together. And I have really come into my own on that on the business side. And then to your point, in my personal life, so maybe I'm not making dollars off of running a profit, for example, but I'm on a board, a couple boards actually. I do nonprofits, and heck, who cares if there's a tick mark I can check? If Michael
Mm-hmm.
Hemphill says, Becky, can you help me? I'm just going to do it. And selfishly, it fills my cup. I really enjoy it. So why would I not do something that I enjoy?
Lovely. And I always tell my daughters, there are many forms of compensation, not just financial. And
Yes.
so, embrace all of those. That's, the,
Hmm.
the big wallet, you need a big wallet, but also a big heart. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So lovely. Uh, Becky Freemall here, fractional CMO, owner of the Market Exec, and finalist for the Athena Awards, uh, uh, recognizing women in leadership by the Roanoke Regional Chamber. And getting back to leadership qualities and women, are there in your, as you've navigated the world, have you noticed if there are particular leadership qualities that are unique to women or more often found in women?
Um, I think that there are qualities that you can find in both men and women, non-binary, binary, it doesn't matter. However you identify, I think humans as a whole really have the ability to have that transformational leadership. And to that end, what I would tell you, and I'm very strong about equality, I really do feel strongly about that in all realms. And it's because you need just as much the thought process and the how to do and the why behind the thing we're doing from men as you do from women. Again, it doesn't matter the gender or how you identify, it's what you bring to the table. And if you have all women or if you have all men or whatnot, you're not going to have that diversity of thought. You're not going to have that fresh perspective. And at the end of the day, and right now we know, sorry guys, but there are more men that have seats at the table than women right now. And so that's why there are so many efforts, I think, in a push to get more females at the table. It's not because I don't think, at least, that we're trying to like push you guys aside, Michael. It's just like, hey, let's even it out. And honestly, you're going to win financially. I mean, women bring improved financial performance, and it's not because they're smarter or better or more transformational. There is some research about transformational leadership and that
Mm-hmm.
women are more in that bucket. But, that diversity of thought, that diversity, not just checking the box of we have the diversity, but that you include and that people feel like they belong. And it's not just men and women, it's old and young. And if you're in a company, get someone who's been there for 20 years and someone who got hired last week, because everyone is going to give you that diversity of thought. It's going to enhance your innovation. It's going to help you with stronger decision making, and it's going to increase employee satisfaction. And COVID, they talk a lot about the fact that women really benefited from work from home. And it was because they still do juggle the majority of the work at home. I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at research time and again, it shows that even women who are breadwinners outside of the household are also still the same people that are doing all the work inside. So there's a lot more of a juggling act that's going on. And being able to allow that voice to be heard and to tap into that is huge. It's
Mhm.
absolutely huge for companies to drive forward and drive progress and to get
Yep.
those results at the end. And I just love that the Chamber of Commerce is doing this Athena Award for that very reason. I think it's not at all about, okay, here's gonna be my altruistic, like, okay, everyone's gonna roll their eyes moment. But I'm just gonna own it, which is it's not about winning it and it's not about being a finalist. It's about absolutely lifting as a whole women in the workplace, women in our community, that diversity and how important it is. And
Mhm.
showing how well we all work together amongst ourselves and as well with other populations.
Well, and I would say that right there is what might be stereotypically a female leadership quality, that we're all in this together. We're all, it's all about a village that we're all lifting up versus a stereotypical male leadership perspective of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in charge, you know, you follow my orders. And whatever success comes from this is because of, who sits in the chair.
Yes. And I've had that. I've had that.
Stereotypical. I'm not saying that's the way perhaps it is in all
Yeah.
cases or now, but that is the traditional mindset. And so therefore, what you just said about, just being a finalist and all the women who will be gathered at that
Yes. I love
banquet.
it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you,
Yeah,
mhm.
no, I was just gonna say, I remember one male boss in my life who was just, I mean, cared about everyone and to call me in his office often to ask my opinion. And I think we found great success in that because we had a leader who asked the opinions of other people, not just, oh, hey,
Mhm.
you're my subordinate or you're a female and maybe I only want the male perspective, whatever it might be.
Well, we're approaching the end of our conversation here with
Ah, we are.
Athena Award finalist Becky Freemall, who founder, owner of the Market Exec, fractional chief marketing officer. Is there one particular, I guess, defining moment in your life as, an entrepreneur that it was due to your leadership, but particularly leadership quality that kind of got you through a tough point?
Yes, and I will tell you this is a story I share when I give my talks, which is resiliency is the answer to that.
Hmm.
Curiosity is what backs that resiliency. And it goes back before I ever was in the career world. I was a soccer player my entire childhood. It was who I was. If you asked me, it wasn't who are you? It was my title. I'm a soccer player, which I think we all do as adults. Who are
Yep.
you? I'm a CEO. Who are you? I'm a fractional chief marketing officer. Who are you? No one ever talks about who they are as a human
Hmm.
being. It's by title. And I
Yep.
learned early on the importance of curiosity and finding other ways to define yourself and that it's not about titles. When I got cut from my soccer team right before my junior year in high school, I was crushed. I was the captain the year before. And I mean, I was devastated. Guess what happened, Michael? My parents let me mourn for about a day or two. And they're like, all right, giddy up. What are you going to do instead? I totally switched into theater, wildly different thing.
Hmm.
Theater brought me into my major as a communications, major at Ohio University, which then brought me into broadcast journalism for 24 years, which brought me into now what I do, which is speaking engagements and communication and marketing. And it all stemmed back to when I was 16 years old in high school, got cut from the soccer team. And from those most tragic moments in your life, if you will, those times that really set you back is where really the most growth happens.
Wow. I, I see why you are a finalist for this award.
Thank you, Michael.
That is beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Well, my good friend Becky Freemall, congratulations on your nomination, your finalist, and wishing you all the best as we prepare for November the 6th, I believe it is, when the banquet at Hotel Roanoke by the Roanoke Regional Chamber, honoring all three finalists, and then the announcement of the award winner. So thank you so much, my friend.
Yes, thank you, Michael.
And that will do it for today's Buzz for Good. Stay connected with our work through my website, buzzforgood.com. That's buzz, B-U-Z-Z, number 4, good.com. as well as my social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, all at Buzz for Good. Congratulations again to all 3 amazing women who are finalists for this year's Athena Award. And I hope our conversations with them today inspire you to be a better Buzz for Good in your community. Bye now.